Hello, Ari.
Hello, Adam.
How are you?
Great. We didn't just talk for an hour and a half.
Do you like my straight fish today? It's giving like...
Oh, yeah. It's giving Xander. Xander would always wear
Have you started? Have you started?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I just watched... I just watched the episode where they get into more details about like Angel's backstory. Do you know what was the most wild episode so far, though? In my opinion, it's got to be between. Oh, you know what? The witchy like voodoo doll one was actually good too. Because I'm on season 1. The like mantis woman.
Oh,
episode?
the teacher.
Yes, the teacher
Amazing.
Mantis episode.
Iconic.
Or the like hyena one.
The hyena one also iconic.
Is crazy.
Both Xander episodes, which is funny.
That's true. That's true. It's so funny with Xander because I know exactly what you mean that he is Ron Weasley.
Yes.
But Xander is like my like type physically.
Oh, really?
So it's really weird. Well, I just think he's very attractive. So it's funny to me like that I'm like
cutie.
I'm like, oh, okay. So he's trying to play like the dorky friend, but he's like this super tall, like what I think is very super handsome, like lovely hair. Like, so I'm like, oh, but that is so Hollywood to be like boy next door. But you're like, if I saw that guy on the street, I would be like, oh my God, he's so good looking, like so handsome, like movie star look. So I'm like, that is always funny. But it is funny that it is like, he's constantly making comments about like the Angel episode. He was like,
oh my God, he hates Angel.
Yeah. He was like, oh yeah, well, you can come and stay at my place. I think you need to come and stay with me, Buffy. And then I'll go to your place and tell Angel to get out of here. Don't worry. But no one ever, like the girls will always just like look at each other and not say anything.
Yeah.
And that is so 90s, 2000s.
It's so 90s. It's so 90s.
That everyone knows. And then like suppose at this point in time, the love triangle is Willow likes Xander, but
correct.
Xander likes Buffy.
Oh my God.
And always talks about Buffy. Like in front of both of them, but then Buffy and Willow know that Willow has a crush on him, and like Buffy's just a good friend and doesn't say anything. But I'm like, I can't. It's like I'm like, okay, no. I would literally have to be like, you're gonna have to say something, or like he keeps saying this shit about me in front of both of us.
Yeah.
And they just he'll say something, and then they just like look at each other, or like someone changes the subject, and I'm like, why was this the trope in the 90s to the 2000s? It is such a trope that it just never gets acknowledged. Anyway, did I ask you how you were? I think we just got into Buffy. How are you doing?
I'm better now that I know you're watching Buffy. I'm good. Things are fine. The world's crumbling, but it's fine.
Yeah.
It's gonna be what it is.
We carry on.
We keep calm.
We
do our best to keep calm.
We panic and carry on.
Panic and carry on.
We pop a Zanny and carry on.
Yeah. Ari.
Yes.
This week we read chapter 28 called The Flight of the Prince. What happens in this chapter?
The identity of the prince is revealed as Harry pursues Snape and the other Death Eaters out of the castle.
Yeah.
Ooh, and it just started raining outside.
Spooky.
They know it's a sad one. They know.
Somber.
So the chapter opens with Harry observing in his body that he feels like he's falling. He also feels like he's falling, as we have just unfortunately witnessed Dumbledore fall. Thanks, Severus. Thank
you so much, Severus. Everybody say thank you, Severus.
And he is in complete denial. And
he's in that river in Egypt. Sorry.
There is like an actual, your brain like genuinely does. If someone is literally like has literally just been standing in front of you being alive, and you have witnessed them like passing, your brain genuinely does not like understand It is very difficult to like mentally fathom that. So I think it's very normal for this reaction to just kind of be like in denial. He says he's like frozen with like horror and shock, like just that type of like paralysis that you feel because you're just like, that can't have happened. I can't have just seen that. But he ends up being able, after he kind of like comes to, he throws his invisibility cloak off, and he hits whatever is like the last Death Eater that's running out of the room with the
Steve
Totalis. Yeah, I was like, she didn't name.
No, she doesn't name any of them. She names like, the Amicus and Athena,
the brother and sister, right? Yeah. The Caros.
But she just keeps calling the other one the blonde one, and I was like, Malfoy? I mean, like, what are we talking about?
Lucius is back.
Lucius is back.
Yeah, I think we find out who the blonde one is like later, like in another book. But I'm like, I don't know who it is.
Which one? Which other book do we find it out?
The final book. So he throws the invisibility cloak off. He stuns this Death Eater, or jinxes them with the. You can't stun the doll.
And he did.
Yeah, and
he doesn't stun them.
It's the Petrificus Total, full body bind curse.
Full body bind.
Jinx. Petrificus Totalis. I hate in the book they say Totalis. And
that's how he pronounces it?
Yeah, and I'm like, Totalis.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, you know what? I take it all back, y'all. It is Lus. So I understand why he would say Totalis. I take it all back.
And it rhymes. Well, it's not really a rhyme, but
Petrificus Totalis. Yeah. So he talks about how he feels terror in his heart after what he's just seen. And he just keeps thinking, I have to get to Dumbledore and I have to catch Snape, because if I can get them back together, I can like fix what's just happened.
Yeah. You can't.
No. He's running through, there's like a full-on battle happening in the castle. I need everyone to know that like this is still continuing. There was a battle that was happening when we were up in the
This is
tower.
the first battle of Hogwarts.
Yeah. This is the OG. So he's running through the battle and he hears Snape yell, "It's over, time to go." So him and Malfoy are like running through. Somehow Snape and Malfoy like don't get hit at all. Fenrir jumps onto Harry and he specifically describes how he can smell like the sweat in the blood. And I was like, I can think of nothing that I would hate more than a hairy, like murderous man wolf combo that smells like man and dog blood. Sweat and blood jumping on top of me. And I don't even have a good sense of smell. My sense of smell is actually really bad. So I can only imagine for someone that has like Adam, who has a heightened sense of smell. Oh my gosh. So he is able to hit him as well with the full body bind, the Petrificus Totalis. He gets back up. He's running through basically like in the battlefield that Hogwarts has become. He sees two bodies laying in a pool of blood, but he can't like stop to see who they are. Yeah. Ginny is dueling Amicus, and Amicus is like giggling as he's fighting her. And then Harry hits Amicus with Impedimenta.
Because he's trying to like Crucio her.
Yeah.
And she keeps like dodging them. And he's like, he, you can't dance forever.
He's a creep. This is the person that comes to teach at Hogwarts, y'all.
He's going to be the headmaster? No, I don't remember. He's
just
gonna be something next year.
One of the like top professors.
Oh, he's gonna be like he's gonna teach dark arts.
Yeah.
Because they get rid of like defense.
Yes, and they just do dark arts.
Offense of the dark arts.
Yeah. So Ginny's like, "Oh, where did you come from?" He sees the other members from the Order, like fighting against Death Eaters. He sees Neville laying down and kind of like freaks out at first, but then Neville's like, I'm okay. I saw Snape and Malfoy run out that way. And Harry's like, yeah, I'm on it. Don't worry. I've got this. Harry's like still continuing to pursue them. He like has a moment where he's like, oh, are they trying to get to the cabinet in the room of requirement again? Could they be like trying to go out through there? But then he finds a bloody footprint that is leading towards the front door. So he's like, that's gotta be, I feel like a bloody footprint could have been anyone, right? If there's a battle going on, I was like, I don't know if that guarantees.
I don't know why. Why don't they go out through the cabinet?
Well,
do we know later? Do we find out later?
I don't know if we find out. But I know that it just. Oh, wait, no! Did the Dumbledore's army? They might have cut them off. Maybe I don't know. We might find out in the next chapter. I can't remember, to be honest. But they don't go that way for whatever reason. We don't know right now. And they
want to get a quick drink, get 3 broomsticks on their way out.
Yeah, I guess.
They put in a mobile order.
Yeah, a mobile order. So he finds this bloody footprint that does end up leading to them. But I was like, I don't know if I would. I mean, I guess, yeah, you follow any lead that you find. But I was like, I don't know if that guarantees that like you're going to find them. But anyway, he follows. I mean,
Harry still thinks he can like save Dumbledore. So I mean, he's
we're in full denial at this point. Yeah. So he's like running through the castle. He's still having to dodge jinxes that are like flying towards him. He takes a shortcut to try and get to Snape sooner. And then that's when he passes a bunch of Hufflepuffs clad in their PJs that are like, oh, what's going on? We heard, Adam.
I'm wearing that. Colors.
They're like, oh, where are we? Or what's going on? We heard that there was like a dark mark up above, or what's going on up there. And Harry's like, I gotta go, get out of the way. And I love,
it's not time to chat.
But I just want to say, I do think it would be very on brand just because of where the Hufflepuffs are located, that they would be like the last to know, other than maybe like the Slytherins, because they're like down by the kitchens.
The Slytherins are the first to know because they're the ones, getting them in.
For that reason, yes. But like the location, it's like because they're down there, like they would just be like, oh, sorry, is something happening?
Hello?
We were asleep. We were asleep in our little hobbit hole of a common room. Mm-hmm. So Harry gets to the front doors of the castle. The oak front doors have been blasted open. There's like some students that are cowering near this area, which I was like, why are you, if the Hufflepuffs are like just now coming out of their dorm room, what students from which house would be like cowering by the door? Like a
Slytherins. It's gotta be.
They were like, we're in the baddie house, but we didn't want this.
We're the good guys that you never hear about in this book series.
We're the good Slytherins.
We're the good Slytherins. There's 5 of us.
We're
our own marauders. We're here.
Slytherin marauders. One of the giant hourglasses, I believe it's the Gryffindor one, has been hit, and they're
the rubies are spilling out onto the
everywhere. Floor. Oh, they're spilling out all onto the floor. Harry runs out onto the grounds, and sees.
What did you write?
It's not that funny. Harry runs out onto the grounds and sees the weather running towards the gate. What? What could that mean?
The weather?
The weather? Oh, the Death Eaters?
Oh, the Death Eaters, probably.
Okay, I was like, the weather, girl? He sees the Death Eaters running towards the gate. Mm-hmm. And then, obviously, if you're thinking about the layout of Hogwarts, Hagrid's hut is obviously very close. Apparently, Hagrid is still on Hogwarts grounds.
It's so interesting because the way Hagrid's hut location changes, right, in the movie series.
Yeah, crazy.
Right? Like in the 3rd movie, they put him down, like he's down a cliff, basically.
Yeah, right next to the Forbidden Forest. That would not work.
Basically. This is movie 1 Hagrid's hut, where it's just like right over there. It's a little shed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, what is that castle called? Annick Castle.
Because doesn't it move again later for this movie? It's like feels like it's in a new location. It's not at the bottom of a cliff.
I think you're right. It is close.
Because like she
again.
dances around it while it's on fire.
Yeah, it is closer again.
Yeah, it's weird.
But yeah, it's because originally it was literally just like the kids walk out of Annick Castle, which is in Northumberland here. Michael and I have seen it before. And the Hagrid's hut is just like there, like on the flat lawn.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, they really, again, that was another thing I had a hard time with, was they just were like, and we're just going to completely change this entire layout. And I was like, okay, I understand this is like a different director and everything, but that's why I always had a hard time with it. Cause I'm like, but you told me the hut was there. So Hagrid comes out of his hut and he's trying to stop the Death Eaters. We love you, Hagrid. Harry is hit by a spell in the back and he's like, oh, okay, this must mean that the brother and sister have caught up with me from behind. The Carrows. And so he hits one of them with Impedimenta and he's like surprised that he is able to hit one of them somehow, he says. But the big blonde Death Eater is just sending like jinx after jinx after jinx at Hagrid. Thankfully, they're bouncing off of him because, as we know, Hagrid has like a giant hide or whatever it is that like
the skin.
He's like resistant to spells and jinxes and stuff. So Harry catches up to Snape finally, and he hears Snape like send Draco off ahead of him. Harry and Snape just like stare at each other briefly. And Harry,
this is now the second year, end of school year in a row where Hagrid has been attacked outside of his hut.
My God. I was thinking about this too when like Minerva tries to intervene and everything.
Yes.
Yeah. I was like, God, this poor guy. Just let him live. He just
the
wants
way
to live
I would
in his
quit
little
my
hut.
job. The way I would quit my job, I'd be like, I can't do this. I'm still happy to be in the order. I can't do this.
I can't do this. I don't feel safe in my own home.
Can I move into the school?
Yeah,
Why am I out here alone?
Yeah. I mean, I guess the fact that like, even though they are, it would cause you to freak out like mentally, but he knows that he can't actually be hurt by their spells.
Yeah.
Maybe that makes him feel safer, that he's like, I don't care. I want to live off the land.
Yeah.
I want to live out here.
How strong do you think his bed is?
How strong his bed?
Yeah. He's a big boy.
Yeah, he's got the like, what is it when it's even bigger than a Super King? Emperor size bed.
Sure.
It's got to be
in his California kingdom.
What is that from?
It's Rihanna, babe.
Oh,
it's her ballad.
What is it? What's the song?
California King Bed.
Oh, that's what it's literally called. No, I haven't heard that one. And I know a decent amount of Rihanna songs, but not that one.
It's good. She's good.
Yeah, he's got double slats to support him.
Oh, yeah. It's got like a whole trellis under there, probably.
Yeah. Or like a log. It's like a full-on log bed with like logs underneath, like cut in half to support him. So Harry, once he reaches Snape, he does try to Crucio Snape, but Snape is able to like parry the spell.
Sure, this is new.
Yeah.
I don't even know. It's crazy. I mean, it's very cool, the idea of being like, whoosh,
yeah,
whoosh.
like just being like, yeah, I was like, all right, but like, are we just forgetting that this has happened before with a character? Like, have we seen
I'm trying to think if like Dumbledore did it with Voldemort last year. I don't think he did though. Those were very specific. Like,
yeah, it was like
those weren't little
was like
curses.
Transforming something into something
those were
else.
Like that was crazy magic.
Yeah, that was advanced like, transfiguration.
Right. Harry's sending like stupefy, like what you learn in second year.
And then throws a couple crucios in there.
Yeah, he tries. He's like crew.
So then, yeah, so Snape parries Harry's spell. And then Hagrid's house is set on fire by the blonde Death Eater while Fang is inside.
Yeah, Charles the Death Eater just sets it on fire.
Charles.
I like deciding that the people who don't have names have the most normal fucking names.
When you said Charles, I immediately am now picturing Steve Martin from Murders Only.
Oh,
but like with a blonde wig.
It was Martin Short, actually.
Who is? Oh, it was Martin Short.
The Death Eater.
The blonde wig.
The Death Eater is Martin Short in a blonde wig.
Great.
Do you know his character that he does where he's like the like movie critic and he like interviews people? Jiminy Glick.
No, I haven't. All right,
I'm going to send you on the craziest rabbit hole. He wears this huge fat suit, which whatever.
Yeah.
But he interviews. Sure. It's similar to when
Hello.
When Zach Galifianakis would do like Between Two Ferns.
Oh yeah. That.
So
vibe.
It's a little like that where Jiminy will interview celebrities and then he'll be like, "So it says here that you were in this movie. I didn't have a chance to see it. Were you any good in it?" It's like that kind of like really and
that
like
type of vibe.
It's so funny. Oh, I have to
watch it. Oh, I think I just got an.
But yeah, it's Jiminy Glick. Jiminy Glick set Hagrid's hut on fire.
Jiminy Glick.
Speaking of Emma Watson.
Yeah.
We also haven't seen each other since the iconic "Ron's been splinched."
Oh yeah.
From Ariana Grande.
Ron's been splinched. What'd she call it? The vocal fray?
Vocal fray. She called it vocal fray. It's so good. Why is she so good at doing
She's
impressions?
so good because she has the ear. She has like such a specific ear for that kind of thing. Yeah. That's why people that are good at impressions, they can like match it. So it's like a mimic. They have like a mimic talent. But yeah, she's so good.
Funny. I listened to it in the episode and it's just it comes out of no. Ron's been splinched.
She did Harry. There's also an impression that she does of Cynthia in front of Cynthia on the red carpet. It was so funny. Yeah.
And Cynthia's like, "Oh."
Yeah, she was like, "Oh." It's so funny though, because it's like she knows the type of things that you say like over and over again, or the way that you like the cadence of which you would say things like is kind of like an involuntary response. She's so good at matching that.
Yeah.
Oh, I love her.
Sorry, we are so tangential that this is what happens when we don't see each other for an extra week.
I know. We had to make up for lost time. But we don't have an excuse because we literally talked for like an hour before.
I know.
You're doing a gym in right now.
I've been doing a gym in.
Where was I? Yeah, so Hagrid is trying to go inside to rescue Fang because the house has been set on fire. Harry tries to Crucio Snape again. Then Snape is able to parry it for a second time. Parry Harry. Then Harry tries Incarcerus, I think is what he tries. But he's able to block that as well. Then Snape brings up his dad and is like, "Oh, your dad only ever tried to duel me when it was 4-on-1. And I was like, I actually don't.
Because Harry calls him a coward.
Did he already call him a coward? I can't remember.
Yes, he calls it. He says, "Stay and fight me, you coward." And that's when Snape is like, "I'm a coward. Your dad would only fight me when he was 4-on-1 or whatever."
Thank you. Yeah,
okay,
there
girl.
we go. And
this is what I mean when I'm
I don't believe that.
You actually have a problem with this child. Like, that's what I like. Yes, we're under the ruse of like, you're doing all this because you're actually helping the order, blah, 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 blah. But like, this isn't part of what you need to do in order to get away.
This isn't a part of that. Yeah,
this is just like you getting mad at a 16-year-old, which you look crazy. You are crazy.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's just like, this is why we need therapists in the wizarding world, y'all.
You espouse therapy? You espouse talk therapy? You?
Who have you been talking to? I just don't believe that it was always 4-on-1. Sorry that you didn't have any friends, Snape, and that like James would like try to duel you and stuff. But
listen,
I doubt that they tried to intervene because I'm pretty sure that James could hold his own against you.
I'm sorry you were bullied as a child. That actually genuinely sucks. That would feel very bad. You are an adult man. You have to move on.
Yeah.
It's actually embarrassing for you, who is someone in your mid-30s, to be bringing up getting bullied by someone's dead father in your you're to a student, like a child.
Had nothing to do with that. Yeah. It's just oh my God.
It's actually embarrassing. You crazy. Should be embarrassed. You're not. You really should be.
You really should. And a therapist would help you see that, but here we are. He just keeps deflecting curse after curse. Someone hits Harry with a curse. I'm guessing like the Cruciatus curse. And he thinks it's Snape. Harry's like assuming it's Snape. But Snape's like, no, have you forgotten our orders? He belongs to the Dark Lord. Go, get out of here. Harry pushes himself to his feet and he like staggers towards Snape. He tries Sectum Sempra. But that curse is also repelled by Snape.
Here we go. Here it is.
And then he finally is close enough to see Snape's face. So Harry looks up into his face and sees that his face is full of rage. Harry thinks Levi Corpus as hard as he can, but then Snape is able to, I don't even know if we would say deflect. That doesn't work on him. And Snape is able to send Harry like flying backwards.
Yeah.
And then it says why does this, it literally says, never mind. Excuse me. There's another like correction. He was wandless and defenseless, just like Dumbledore had been. And then Snape says, you're trying to use my own spells against me. You're trying to use...
Diva?
Yeah. You're trying to use the spell I invented.
Honey, you better pay that copyright money, bitch. I trademarked that spell, honey.
And then he brings up James again. He's like, just like your father did, I'm the half-blooded prince. Or blood, sorry, excuse me. I always want to say blooded. I'm the half-blood prince. It was I who created those spells. And while he's saying this, Harry can also hear Fang like yelping and Hagrid yelling because he's trying to get to him. Harry lunges for his wand, but Snape is like, I don't know, does some type of spell that like tosses it out of Harry's reach. And then Harry says, kill me like you killed him, you coward. And this apparently like sets Snape off. It says that he looks demented. He looks inhuman. He's like, don't call me coward. He's like throwing like a little hissy fit. And then he slashes out at Harry. So Harry feels like he's been hit with a whip and he's slammed backwards. And he feels like either his like face feels hot or something. And then like
he
the wind
used Sectum Sempra on Harry. That's what I thought at first.
Yeah, because it was similar to like what happened with Malfoy.
Yeah, the slashing of
yeah. But it was just like one. And I think that's like a slice more than like a whip feeling, isn't it? So he's had like the wind knocked out of him, basically. Harry has. But then thankfully, Buckbeak, aka Witherwings, comes to Harry's aid, and he fights off Snape with he's like slashing at him with his razor sharp claws. Get him, Beaky. And then so Snape's running away. Buckbeak is screeching like Harry's never heard him screech before. Snape gets away, and Harry only realizes this because Buckbeak is like circling the gate. So he's like, oh, he must have like apparated out of here. So Harry remembers obviously like the house fire at Hagrid's and what's going on with Fang. So he starts yelling for Hagrid. Hagrid appears and he's carrying Fang on his shoulders. Hagrid's making sure Harry's all right. Harry's making sure Fang is all right. And he can feel Fang's warm, like alive body next to him. And he says he can smell maybe like a little bit of like burnt dog hair, but he can feel Fang breathing next to him. So he knows he's okay. So Harry checks in on Hagrid to make sure he's doing all right. And Hagrid's like, oh yeah, they would have to do a lot more than that to take me out. Okay. I'm a tough cookie. And then Harry says that they should put out Hagrid's house. It's on fire with the Aguamenti charm, so they do that. And
then, like, Hagrid didn't even remember. Like, this is what I'm like, what are we talking about?
It's been years, Adam, to be fair. He left when he was 13.
Dumbledore should have been giving him private lessons this entire time. I'm sorry.
I agree. I do agree with that. I agree. But you should.
If he was like, you're in the Order of the Phoenix. Let's get you to a basic competency level.
Yeah, right. Hopefully the basics. Hopefully Aguamenti was just one. He was like, I don't have to remember that one, but I'll remember like.
He was probably saying Aguamente. And they were like, oh, no, it's not Spanish. Aguamente.
Yeah, the pronunciation was just a little off.
Right, that was the problem.
So they put out the fire, and then Hagrid says, it's not that bad. It's nothing Dumbledore won't be able to put right. And Harry's like, oh my God, I'm going to have to tell him. Like, no one knows. No one knows that he's dead. And so Hagrid's going on and on. He's like, oh, I was healing a couple of Bowtruckle's legs. Or like splinting their legs, and now they've probably been burned to twigs. And I was like, oh, that is so sad.
That's crazy. Are Bowtruckles basically just little Ents?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
little BB Ents. And then Hagrid's like, I saw Snape running with those Death Eaters. I just didn't know what was going on. That was so weird. And then Harry like is trying to find the words. And starts by saying, Hagrid, he killed. And Hagrid's like, he killed? Who did he? Snape? Snape killed who? And then Harry says, Dumbledore. To which Hagrid just stares at him. And then is like, Dumbledore what? Because he just can't even.
This would piss me off. This would really piss me off. If someone was like, no, you're lying. I'd be like, why would I? To his credit.
Why would I make that up? Yeah.
Hagrid is not saying he's lying. He's saying like, oh, you're confused. Like you mistook what you saw.
No, you must have misunderstood. Like right? Yeah.
It's done very well because it would be really annoying if Hagrid was like, no, you're lying. Like that's insane.
Yeah.
But I would still be like, please don't tell me that what I saw is wrong.
Yeah.
Girl, okay. But Harry's fully just like, all right, girl, well, you'll find out on your own. I guess. I tried to warn you, hun.
He does try to say, he says, I saw it. Because he's like, why would you? Because when he says Dumbledore, he's like, Snape killed him. And Hagrid's like, why would you say that? No, that can't be right. Dumbledore must have sent him to do something. He must have sent them with the Death Eaters. That's what's going on. He's like, oh, no. You don't know, like, what you're just confused, basically, is like the subtext of what he's saying. And then he's like, well, we'll go up to the castle and like figure it out. So Harry's like, I'm not going to sit here and try and convince you of this because he's exhausted already. So they start walking up towards the castle. There is a group of people clustered around a specific spot just below the tower with the dark mark is still up in the air. And then Harry imagines that he can already see like a dark huddled mass of something at the bottom, even though he knows he can't really since they're so far away. And then Hagrid, is seeing all these people crowding around this one area. So he says, oh my gosh, you don't think that someone like fell or was thrown? Like, oh gosh. And so once they're close enough, obviously
it's worse.
It's Dumbledore.
Yeah.
And he's laying, it specifically says spread eagle in the grass. His glasses are like slightly askew. So Harry fixes them and like sets them right on his face. His eyes are closed. And there is like a little trickle of blood that Harry kind of cleans up to just make him look, a little bit more like he's just sleeping. And then Harry is basically just trying to process that Dumbledore is in fact gone.
I want to ask, I don't actually think I want to know, but I do want to know, what would the human body look like from a fall that long?
I don't,
because I understand it's probably a lot of internal damage.
Yes, I think that is mostly what it would be. I think like we're lucky that it is like he landed spread eagle as opposed to something else that would have been like more traumatizing to see. It might be obviously because I don't know if there is a difference in terms of in this universe with like magical bodies, if they are more like seen as stronger or something. I don't know. So as Harry is like kneeling next to him, he realizes that he's kneeling on something hard, and it is the locket that they went to retrieve. So he picks up the locket and he ends up opening it.
Because it had been damaged from the fall.
Yes. Yeah, okay. I'm just going to read this bit. He turned the locket over in his hands. This was neither as large as the locket he remembered seeing in the pensieve, nor were there any markings upon it. No sign of the ornate S that was supposed to be Slytherin's mark. Moreover, there was nothing inside but for a scrap of folded parchment wedged lightly into the place where a portrait should have been. And then automatically, without really thinking about what he was doing, he pulled out the fragment of parchment, opened it, and read it by the light of the many wands that had now been lit behind him. And it says, "To the Dark Lord, I know I will be dead long before you read this, but I want you to know that it was I who discovered your secret. I have stolen the real Horcrux and intend to destroy it as soon as I can. I face death in the hope that when you meet your... Wait. Oh, sorry. I thought that was a period. It's like scribbly text in the book. Yeah. It's a little harder. I face death in the hope that when you meet your match, you will be mortal once more." And it is signed R.A.B.
R.A.B.
So after reading this, Harry is like, as if he could be even more, he didn't think he could be any more devastated than he already was, but he reads this and he's like, oh my gosh, this isn't even the right locket. So we just did all of that. And Dumbledore drank that nasty ass potion that weakened himself for nothing. Or at least that's like what Harry thinks right now. Mm-hmm. And then the chapter ends with Harry thinking that and Fang howling.
Yeah.
Sweet Fang. And that is
R.A.B. Ron Allen Beasley.
Beasley. Pam Beasley's brother. And that's it. That is the chapter. And it's like, I want to be very clear when I say this. I have never witnessed a person die, and I want to honor that is very different. I've been in the room holding both of my dogs when they passed. And there is something about like, when you see someone pass, when you're there in the moment.
Yeah.
That it does, like, I can remember it still right now, but they're still for so long that you just are like, I can't believe that actually happened. So it's like this, right. I think this chapter does a really good job of essentially the first like stage of grief of just the denial and trying to come to terms with acceptance of it while your brain like genuinely can't really.
Yeah.
Like it just can't really comprehend. It's just hard. It's so hard to be like, you were just living and breathing. And now you have left the world. It's just such a weird thing to like, it's so hard to try and process it. I don't know what the psychology behind that is, but like, even though as humans, we've been around for years and years and years, something about that, our brains still haven't found a way to like process it quickly. It takes like months and months to process like a death. It's so strange. And I think that is why like talking about grief is like such a powerful thing, even though grief is so upsetting and like sad, but it's like other people that have experienced loss in that kind of way. Like when I have conversations with them about grief and like reading this chapter, obviously I see this in a very different way now. But I think that it is grief is obviously a beautiful thing because it's like the love is continuing, even though the person that you love or the pet that you love isn't there anymore. But it obviously is also like a really hard and difficult thing to feel. But yeah, I just think it's in terms of like a, what is it called? Like a clinical sense. I would be so interested in like why death specifically is something that like our brains still have trouble coming to terms with and processing. Because if you think about it, death is such a part of our lives as humans. Life and death, you know, like, I mean, people die. It's just we're all dying at the end of the day. Like we only have however
at the
much
end of
time
every day we constantly die.
No, that's not what I mean. We're all dying every day or whatever. Like not in a morbid way, in a sense of like we all have X amount of time on Earth or whatever. But I just think that is so interesting. And yeah, I think what Harry is thinking and how she writes it. I hate to give her a compliment. I always hate it, but like it's well done. That it's just like, and even Hagrid's reaction of like, no, that can't, you just must have misunderstood, because it just is like so unfathomable. And obviously the type of character Dumbledore had and the type of presence he has, it's understandable that there's going to be this ripple of grief, not just through like the school, but through the wizarding world. So yeah. But yeah, that's it. That's the chapter.
It's not good. I did not remember the locket thing. So I have a question. Okay, let's go back through the Horcruxes. Okay,
let's go back
diary
in the beginning. Yeah,
basilisk thing.
Yeah,
ring. Dumbledore did something. He took care of it. It was taken care of. Locket. R.A.B. took care of it.
R.A.B. Did something. Yeah.
We have Nagini. On other hand, we have Nagini. We're still waiting to take care of.
Okay.
We have Helga Hufflepuff's what am I missing? The
what?
The diadem.
Diadem.
What's the seventh one?
What did you say so far? Nagini, the diary.
Nagini. No, we already did the diary. Nagini. Oh, just in general. Nagini, diary, locket, cup, diadem. I'm like losing my mind.
I know. Hold on. Wait. Okay. Nagini.
Ring.
Okay. So are we doing like, you're doing them on separate hands for what reason? Just so the ones that are destroyed?
Three are done. 4
that we know of. Well, the locket isn't technically done.
Oh, we still have to find the fucking locket?
Yeah.
So R.A.B. didn't take care of it.
No, he tried.
Fucking.
I know. Yeah, so they have to do that. So it's like the locket, the locket, the cup.
Well, the locket is what isn't the locket what Ron wears through most of the book next book?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's right.
The locket, the diadem. So yeah, if that, then the locket is that's what answers your question, right?
So which one? Locket, let's go through them. Locket, diary, Nagini, diadem, cup, ring. Did I say diary? But that's not 7, right? Isn't Harry 8?
Hold on. No, I think it was because the 7th is in Voldemort, right?
Oh, right. He split his soul 6 times because 6 would make him plus him is the 7th, and then Harry makes the 8th.
Yeah,
that's what.
Because one piece has to be him.
Sorry, spoiler alert.
No, it's fine. I think Michael and I literally had that same conversation recently where he was like, wait, because I was like, no, I'm pretty sure the one of them has to be in him. Like he has to be either the first one or the 8th. Like he's one or the other. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. It's not that there's 7 Horcruxes. It's that you split your soul into 7 pieces was the idea, which obviously means that one of the pieces.
One is in you. Yeah. Is it? When are we? Is the movie going to be? When is the? Is everything going to be released before the end of the year, or no?
Yes, ma'am. Wow. Part 1 comes out on December 23rd, and Part 2 comes out on December 30th.
Literally just in time. Mm-hmm. Isn't that crazy?
No, because I planned it. That's why it's not crazy.
Okay, sure. But still, the fact that is actually happening, because like we could have like been like, oh, we can't do it, or well, you know, like it's not going to happen. That's amazing. Good job, Adam.
I already have next year's planned out too.
Oh, when do we start? When do we start back up again?
First episode is March 3rd.
Oh, that's a pretty good amount of time. Mm-hmm. But we can start recording before that, obviously, if we want.
Yeah.
And then we have to talk about what our next show is going to be, Adam.
Okay.
Well, we don't have to do a show. I like that I see you every weekend, so I just want to make sure I still see you every weekend.
All right, we can just talk. We can just see each other.
I know that, but I don't know if you want to talk. Content. Okay. As long as you feel that way, because I didn't know if you felt that way. Okay, great.
Of course.
Okay.
Thank you, Ari. That wraps up this chapter. That was such a job well done.
Thank you. I try.
Next week we'll be reading chapter 29, The Phoenix Lament.
This is Oh yeah, and this is Fox. This is a time. The last time we talked about you singing,
performing.
It maybe wasn't the right moment, but this is your time to shine.
You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you find your podcasts, as well as video versions on the Ampliverse YouTube channel and on Spotify. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe so that we can get a perfect Newt score, 5 stars only, or else your little hut will be set ablaze, bitch.
No, not my hut.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HP Anxious or YouTube and TikTok at The Ampliverse. We are hosted on Spotify for podcasters, so thank you to them, and are a proud member of The Ampliverse. Please check them out at theampliverse.com. Thank you, Ariana.
Thank you, Adam.
And as always, Sexual Simple, bitch.
Oh, I was going to go, crush, and cut.
You dare to use my own spells against me?
You just like your daddy.
You're just like your daddy.